Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Way of the Jungle Monk subclass here. This mod is made by Tricaliber OG, and it's a very interesting subclass. What's nice about this is it has all custom icons here, and it was made without AI. You have either your crane or your tiger stance, and you can switch between these. You also can use the bonus action and get into these stances. What's also cool is you can deal piercing or slashing damage if you wanted to, and you can gracefully transition between your stances and unlock different abilities. Now for our stat spread, I would actually recommend to go with a higher dexterity. We're going to dump our strength because there's a multitude of reasons. You can use a strength potion near the game, and if you don't like those, it's actually really easy to put a club in your offhand, and since the monk doesn't actually get any defense increases from using a shield, this is the best option, because then you can get the 19 strength at the early game and not have to put any points into it. I'd also recommend 14 Constitution and 16 Wisdom, although you can swap the Constitution and the Wisdom if you prefer. Upon hitting level 2, we get all of our patient defense and steps to the wind, but it's level 3 when we get to take our subclass here. Now, with the Way of the Jungle, we get at level 3 here, the Dragon Striking. So when you're in your Prowling Tiger stance, your strikes evoke those of a menacing dragon. Enemies must succeed a Wisdom saving throw when targeted with a melee attack, and they can be thrown off balance by this. And when we're in our gliding crane stance, it can hamstrung the enemies, which reduce their movement speed to 0. Really good. We also have the Flurry of Blows Toe Tiger here, which is what's going to impact the enemy with that. And there's also the Toe Crane here, and I really like the icons on these. They're super cool. We also then can choose between going into our gliding crane or Prowling Tiger stance with a bonus action. At level 4, we get our Slow Fall there and our First Feet. I would recommend, it's really good to have Tavern Brawler. We could even have set to our Constitution to 15 and take it up to 16 there, but this doubles our Strength modifier. Use the Club of the Hill Giant Strength in the early game, or potions if you want, because the damage from that is crazy. You don't miss your punches at that point. Tavern Brawler's broken. Level 5, extra attack, and the Stunning Strikes. These are really good, because stunning a target, honestly, very powerful. And upon hitting level 6, this is when we get some more powerful abilities. So we get the Leopard Hunting Sweep. So sweep all enemies within a meter of you, knocking them prone, and enter the gliding crane stance afterwards, and you get 9 meters of movement speed. This uses up your action, your bonus action, 4 meters of movement speed, and a key point. There's also the Ready Leopard Pouncing Strike, which has a 5d6 bonus force damage and can daze enemies and hits in a straight line. This uses 9 meters of your movement speed. There's also the Pouncing Strike here, which is the lesser one, which gives you, it only uses 3 meters of movement speed, but only 2d6 of force. And then the Lesser Sweep here, which is a lesser cost, and it doesn't eat up the movement speed. So pretty good stuff here. Level 7 gives us the Stillness of Mind and Evasion, so any dexterity saves, we take half less damage, and if we succeed, no damage. And we'll also then at this point take the Alert Feat. Level 8 feat, it's honestly really good to go first as a monk, since we are very high single target damage. We can oftentimes take out a lot of enemies at once. So our next ability here is the Dragon's Claw. So you can actually change your damage type into slashing if you wanted to. There's also this Snake's Fang here, which can make it do piercing damage if you wanted to. The Focus Prowl, which you cannot be moved against your will by any spell or action. There's the Focus Glide, which gives you an additional use of the deflect missiles here with your gliding crane. And the Graceful Transitions. After switching stances, retain the benefits of the previous stance's striking style for the remainder of your turn. We also get the Flurry of Claws here, which does slashing damage, as this is the ability, and it can inflict bleeding on the target. And then there's also the Flurry of Fangs, which can do gaping wounds. Furthermore, we also get the Stunning Claw here, which can stun targets, and it does slashing damage or piercing damage, depending on the one that you want to use. And once we get up to level 10 here, we get our Purity of Body. Immunity to poison damage, cannot be poisoned by disease due to the ki flowing through our blood. Level 11 subclass feature, Flawless Transition. You regain a bonus action point whenever you switch stance once per turn. This lets you do your stances and dance between them, actually. Level 12 is our final level here. Now, you could go with something like the, I guess Lucky is a good choice for if you want to prevent things from happening to your character. I like the ability score improvement, though. I personally like it on Dexterity here, but since we're going with Strength, you could even go on your Wisdom. It's an option, but I think Dexterity ends up being a little bit better for the more Initiative and Armor class. And for gear, now, we got this Scabby Pugilist Circlet here, which will do a 2 damage against targets when there's 2 or more surrounding you. That's really nice. I also like the Haste Helmet in the early game for just the extra movement speed that it brings. The Stalker Mantle or the Cloak Protection for your cloak works great. Once you get to the end game, the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation is the best choice. We're going to want to use clothing and robes for the most part. And this, whenever the wearer succeeds a saving throw against a spell, they regain 1 to 4 health points. And you also get the Greater Kashigo counter. This is really good. Weaponizing our reaction is strong and in our armed attack can oftentimes wipe out an enemy that misses us. We also get the Gloves of Soul Catching here. There's a lot of gloves that deal extra damage whenever you're in the earlier game, so use those until you get to the late game. The gloves that uninhibited Kashigo work great as well. Same as the boots. These add additional damage equal to our Wisdom modifier with the Experience of Deadly. That's only going to be a +3 damage, which is not huge, but it's an option if we want a bit more offense. There's also the Boots of Stormy Clamor if you have the Illithid ability Drain, and the Evasive Shoes. Now, you can put a shield in your offhand if you want to get the defensive benefits of it. This is Spell Guard, advantage in saving throws, but we don't really have to worry too much about that. So, yeah, you don't need it. We also get the Amulet of Greater Health there, setting our Constitution score to 23. The Ring of Free Action is really nice because with this, we can move around uninhibited, and this allows us to ignore difficult terrain, cannot be paralyzed. I also like the Shadow Cloaked Ring or Shade Cloaked Ring here. Shadow Cloaked Ring. So basically 1d4 of extra damage against slightly or heavily obscured targets. So if you can find an area where it's not so bright, you're going to get a big boost to the damage. And the Ring of Free Action is really good too. There's also the Killer Sweetheart and even Crusher's Ring for the extra movement speed whenever you're in the early game. And I also have the Hellrider Longbow for that +3 to our initiative score so we can go first. And don't forget to enter your Prowling Tiger stance here. I love the look of that. Alrighty then, so our first turn of combat, we got our Leopard Hunting Sweep here, which we can use if there's enemies in an area of effect around us. That's really nice to prevent them from getting away. We can knock them prone with that. We also have we could swap to the Gliding Crane here, which would let us do that straightforward line attack. What's also funny is you can use the Ballast Armor, and with the piercing damage on these attacks, yeah, you can swap to the piercing damage, and it's going to be really strong. I think the best choice here is just to start off with one of our melee attacks here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just punch this target here. Yeah, that was a single one shot, so pretty good. The thing with the monk is they have a lot of bonus action abilities, so we want to preserve that for as long as possible. And I guess we did get into our crane form here, which changed us and then gave us that bonus action here. What you'll notice is that some of these actually are moving around, so we actually now have the ability to hit a few targets here that I want to. So I'm going to use this ability here, Primed Leopard. It creates the grass there. Yeah, so it's supposed to make you move there because it uses up your action, bonus action, but I'm having a little bit of lag, so that's just something to keep in mind, I guess. True Leopard striking, go with that here, I guess. I'll send my turn, 'cause I'm not sure what's going on there. Aha, now we get to use the Greater Kashigo counter. This is awesome because our unarmed attacks hit like a truck sometimes. We actually hamstrung that target, which is really funny, so that's great. Now here we can actually do some sneaky. We can switch ourselves into our stance here using this attack. So going ahead with that, it was enough to take them out. They failed to save, and then we unlock the Leopard Sweeping Hunt. So then we can run over here and use this ability. And there's the true form or the lesser form, depending on what you got for abilities. If you want to use up your movement speed, then you can attack there, again, knock them prone and ragdoll them, I guess. And we still have a full action, so we can go ahead punching them, which is enough to take them out. And then I can't make it to the back line, but that's exactly what we got Arrow of Many Targets for, or Arrows of Slaying, because I forgot I have a mod that actually doesn't let me use those for whatever reason. So yeah, we can just fire away, I guess, and we still have the extra attack, so we'll do another. I'm going to try this again to see if we can get this to actually hit this time, and yeah, we did. We got knocked in with the Hunter's Prey there, which lets us do the Prowling Strike, which we can then jump towards them, doing an attack, and getting Mind Broke, because I did not think. And we were about to get hit with a critical hit here, but we got Deflect Missiles, and we got an additional usage of it. We can redirect it back using the key points. We can throw that arrow back in their face, get the force damage, because funny enough, the extra force damage that we get on unarmed attacks actually counts on some throwing attacks like you saw there. Unfortunately, I don't have the range to hit it, so if you got any time that you're kind of trapped out of range, if you got Illithid abilities or anything like that, you can make use of those just to make things a little bit easier. And that was a nice one-shot there. So boom, that is the Way of the Jungle Monk subclass here. Again, this mod is made by Tricaliber OG, a very well done mod. I'd highly encourage you to check it out. I love the different abilities here, being able to do force, bludgeoning, jumping around like you saw there. It's super cool. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you guys all have a great day, and we'll catch you in the next one.